So I have to share this dream with you all that I had. It was crazy. And I'm so excited to be able to share this with you. You get out of it what you need to get out of it. I'm going to tell you what I got out of it. Hopefully, you'll share some of the revelation in the comments of what you got out of it. But bust this. So I had a dream the other day. I was in this house, my family and we were kind of walking through the house as though we owned the house. But I think in the dream, we were kind of like walking through the house to see if we wanted it, even though we were walking through the house like we owned it. We didn't kind of walk through like we were spectators or just trying to figure out what's going on. So there were these people in there, probably like 4 or 5 of them. But within the dream, I knew they were some type of spirit. Even though they were people, they were representing spirits. And as we were walking through the house, pretty much just like, hey, we're here, we own this place, the spirits got discouraged. And they were about to walk out the door. And their master came, or whoever was like the leader of them came and was like, where y'all going? And the spirits were like, they're not scared. We're leaving. So they were so discouraged that we weren't afraid of them that they were leaving the house. And the spirit, the leader, he was like, well, wait a minute. I got something for them. Now, for some reason, I end up in the house alone. So my family is gone and those spirits are gone. So I'm guessing that each spirit that was there was supposed to be represented by one of my family members. And so each one, so 1 to 1. So one family member, one spirit. So when my family members ended up leaving out of the dream, they just disappeared. So did those spirits. Now I'm left with this one big spirit. And he is just like upset that, he can't, like the people under him are not like doing their job. They're giving up. They're discouraged. So he goes, wait a minute. I have one more thing left to do. He was like, I got something for that. So I'm standing there. I'm listening to him tell these spirits that as they're leaving out the door. And I was like, you think we scared? I was like, so the spirit grew like these like horn things out of like its back. And I started laughing. I was like, we're not scared of that. I was like, so what? That doesn't scare us. And he was like, wait, I have something else for you. So his body began to like be covered by this steel armor. So this armor was like, it went up his legs, his belly, his arms, up to his neck. And this is a weird armor because he's like a whole entire like ball. So it's a steel ball, but he has like the feet, but it's still steel. His arms are coming out the ball. They're still covered in steel. So I'm looking, and in my mind I'm saying, but he could hear me, even though I'm not saying the words out loud. Like we're speaking telepathically, I guess, or mentally, spirit to spirit. So I said, so you covered yourself in a steel ball? I was like, I'll just shoot you in the head. So I'm kind of like in the spirit, like looking for a gun. So now I'm like, okay, I need a gun because I'm going to just shoot him in the head. And he was like, I'm not done. And a steel helmet covered his entire head, y'all. And I said, oh my goodness, he is completely covered in steel. I was like, I can't beat him. And that scared me. So I started to look for a way away from him. And I remembered when we were walking the house, there was a room that I could go in that had a window. Because I remember looking through the door, seeing the window, and then seeing like a large grass area and another house. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to run to that room, get out the window, and run to that house. So as I begin to run, I notice now I have 4 books in my hand. And I'm holding these books. And as I'm running, I'm like, God, why do I have these books? What am I going to do with these books? But when I got to the window, I knew I couldn't jump out the window because the window was a window. So I took the books and I broke the window. And then I was like, darn, if I try to slip through, I'm going to cut myself. So I began to bang out all the jagged edges with the books. Now, he's a steel ball, so he's not really moving fast. He's heavy and he's slow, right? And I mean a gigantic, enormous steel ball. So I get the window, all the glass broken out. And right when I slip out of the window, this steel ball monster ends up right there at the window. And I just made it by the skin of my teeth. Go with me, y'all. So now in my head, I'm like, okay, God, I could either run to this house or to that house. Because now there's two houses. And I'm like, oh, I do not want to run. I was like, either house I go to, I still don't have a way to beat this steel ball monster. And I'm just like, I really don't want to run. But now the steel ball, he couldn't get through the window because he was too big to get through the window. So while I'm standing there trying to figure out my next move, oh my God. God is so good. He's speaking to me right now and he's telling me, he's saying, be still and know that I'm God, right? Because even though I'm in this situation, see, I didn't get this revelation at first. Even though I'm currently in a situation where this thing is after me, I still took time to be still to figure out which way to go. I didn't just hurry up and make a decision and do something. I stood still. Now, as I am standing still, this thing is making its way to me. So it goes out the house and it's coming around the house to get to me in the backyard, because that's where I came out the window, in the backyard. And as I'm standing there, I see him approaching me. And I said, God, I can't keep running. I was like, if I run, I'm going to be running forever. So it doesn't matter which house I go to. I was like, what can I do to defeat this thing? So I saw between that thing's steel helmet and his body armor, it was like a little crack open, like right here, right? But it was real small, sort of like that. And I was like, okay, God, if I had a gun, I could shoot him and kill him like David slung that one rock. I was like, one good shot and I could get him right between the opening of his helmet and his armor. But I said, God, I'm not that good of a shot. I don't shoot that well. And I was like, what am I going to do? I was like, why did you give me these books? What are these books going to do? Because that's all I had was these 4 books. I didn't have any weapons. I'm like, where's my sword? Where's my gun? Where's my sling? Anything. So at that moment, this light hits the first book on top. On top is a book. It's like the width of this book, right? It is, but it's leather bound and it's like tan. It's leather bound and it's tan brown. It's a tannish color. It doesn't have anything written on it. So a light just comes down and hits the book. And I'm like, this book is lighting up. What is this? I'm like, God, what is this book? I was like, what is this? So I dropped the other 3 books. Now the ball has, like, he's right here in front of me. And I was like, okay, there's something about this book. So I open up the book and a fierce light comes out of it. For some reason, I opened the book up like this, away from me towards the thing. So I wasn't even reading it to myself. So when I opened it like this, a fierce light shot out from the book and it hit the ball and the ball like stumbled. And I was like, God, what is this? I was like, is this the power? Is this my weapon? And I took the book and kept it open. And he couldn't fight against the book. This monster thing could not fight against the book. And I was amazed. So I began to walk around. I heard the Spirit say, walk around. And I began to walk around the ball with the book open, just like this. And I kept going like that and around and walking around and walking around. And as I'm doing that, the light is shooting from the book and fiercely. And this big ball is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it disintegrates. And I wake up out of my dream because I thought I was awake, but I end up waking up and I was like, oh my goodness, what just happened? And so I'm like, God, this is a prophetic dream. I was like, why didn't you just tell me like that was your word? And God was telling me to stand on his word. Like in this season, you know, we all stand on his word. We stand on his word. But he was like, in this season, even literally take my word and stand on it. Don't move an inch. As a matter of fact, the Spirit was telling me, you don't even have to pray the way you pray, because I love to pray, like, and I'm just very real and honest in my prayer. They might not be like eloquent or elaborate, but they are real. And I was like, okay. And God was like, literally just read the word and put your name in there. So whatever prayer I read out, I'm just putting me and my family and my friends, my loved ones' names, my city, my country, my government. I'm inserting their name in it and I just speak it out. I don't even have to like just open it up, read it, say it, speak it, and interject your pronouns. And I was like, wow. And God was showing me literally to just stand on his word, and his word was going to be the very thing that brought down everything, the biggest, hardest thing that tries to come against me. Another revelation, right? So I'm telling my dream to my spiritual mom, and she's like, that's it right there, confronting it. She was like, you confronted it. I was like, yeah, I didn't even think about it that way, because just in my spirit, I was like, I do not want to be running in fear for the rest of my life from anything. And she was like, you got to confront things. And I was like, oh, I love that. And I'm telling you right now, like literally, like God just wants us to confront some things and really just take the word and apply it and stand on it. So now I'm going to give you some backdrop to a few things on why it's so awesome to me. Because at the beginning of the year, I had a tumultuous 2024. Finances, marriage, my relations with my children, that was good. My business, just knowing where I'm going to go, career-wise, everything, like it was a mess, and I'm not going to recant it right now. But as it's getting to the end of the year, I like to make my goals in October for the next year coming up. So I did that, and I was like, okay, so January gets here, and I'm like, okay, I usually start in October. Like I said, I'll write my goals down in October, and that's pretty much when I begin to implement them. So January's here now, and I'm already implementing my New Year's goals, because again, I start them usually in October. So it's just this now, because I feel like I started in October, we got November, December, January, right? So I'm feeling like something should have broke by now. So I'm on my bed one day, and I said, God, you made me a promise when I was like, I think I was like 30-ish or something like to that degree. And I was like, and the promise hasn't come to pass yet. Okay. And I was like, so I'm asking you now, and I'm getting so emotional even right now because God is so good. So I was like, God, I'm going to ask you this question, and whatever you tell me, it isn't going to stop me from serving the kingdom. It isn't going to stop me from loving you, trusting you, believe, having faith, from living my life for you, basically. Like nothing's going to change. Is that the only thing is going to change is my expectation. So I won't have this desire for certain things that you have promised me. And when I say he literally promised me, I mean, God woke me up one morning. I fell asleep on my couch. Oh yeah, this video going to be a second. You stay with me on this video. I was asleep on my couch, and the sunlight came through I had patio doors, 2 big patio doors to the back door, and the shade was open. So I don't know why I didn't have the shade closed that day, but it was open and the sunlight peeked in, which made me open my eyes. But the Spirit of God kissed me on my forehead. Listen to me. He kissed me on my forehead and said, "Good morning, daughter. Tell me what you want."